qigong can be practiced standing, it can be practiced sitting, and it can even be practiced lying down. As far as sitting is concerned, it's quite commonly practiced if people have weakness or problems in the legs, or if they're suffering from chronic fatigue, or, for example, long COVID. But actually, it was quite traditional, but particularly with sort of cross-legged floor sitting. There are certain forms, like one of the Badranjin forms is a seated form. Okay, so when we practice qigong sitting, the first thing to do is to find the right kind of seat, where when we sit, our legs can form a right angle, roughly a right angle. We place the feet shoulder width apart and the insides of the feet parallel, and we want the knees to be sitting right above the ankles. Then we locate, or we feel, our sitting bones deep inside the buttocks, and feel that connection with the chair, and then we can slowly move around, feeling the way the weight goes through the sitting bones into the chair until we feel absolutely centred between left and right sitting bones, and between too far forward and too far back. So the weight is going down straight through the centre of the head, the centre of the core, into the chair. The palms can rest on the knees, and we can start just by a few moments of quietness, centering ourselves, feeling the connection between the feet and the floor. Feeling the weight of the trunk releasing down into the chair through the sitting bones. Feeling the shoulder blades relaxedly dropping down the back, and the shoulders soft, relaxed, sinking, elbows sinking. Become aware of the sensation between the palms, the hands, and the knees. And then gently tucking the chin down and softly lengthening, expanding through the centre of the neck and the head, so that the top of the head is attracted up, not stretched, just naturally attracted up to the sky. And before we do anything else, we can just sit like this as long as possible, just staying in the present moment, experiencing the body. Okay, when we're ready, we can then turn our attention to the breath. So as in standing qigong, the breathing we want to do ideally is down to the ear, down to the lower belly, the dantian. So it's the opposite of chest breathing. We don't want to consciously feel the chest, we don't want to consciously feel the side ribs, we actually want the chest to remain empty. It's described as like an empty bell. And the breath comes in through the nose, passes through the relaxed and empty chest, with the feeling that it goes all the way down to the lower belly. And if we're not used to lower abdominal breathing, a common way to start is to place one hand in the centre of the chest and one hand on the belly below the navel. And as we breathe in, we want to feel that this hand, the top hand, doesn't move, doesn't expand, and this hand expands as the belly fills with breath. exaggerating, this hand will expand outwards and settle back as we breathe out. So this may not be easy. If we have actually a lifelong habit of breathing into the chest, particularly the upper chest, it can take quite a lot of practice to relax here and to take the breath down. It is just a matter of practice. It can be in the early stages that when we start trying to do lower abdominal or dantian breathing, the chest starts to feel tight and uncomfortable. So don't spend too long at it, just regular practice and it will become easier and easier. Once we become accustomed to it, we no longer need to consciously expand the belly. Actually what happens is that the breath, instead of expanding the belly outwards, fills inside, goes deep into the pelvic cavity and even into the lower back. So if we want, we can put our hands here and then spend a few minutes, however long feels comfortable, gently, quietly, without effort, allowing the breath to slow and to deepen into the lower belly. And the more we become used to it, the more enjoyable, the more rewarding it is, the more it will shift us into really calm, peaceful states, and the greater the beneficial healing effect will be. The eyes can be open, they can be half open, or they can be closed. So there are still people suffering from long COVID. I'm filming this at the end of 2023, so some people have been suffering from long COVID for 2 years or longer. And there seems to be some evidence that for some people with long COVID, one of the symptoms or one of the presentations is that people breathe just into the upper chest. And that has a lot of potentially negative effects particularly in terms of feeling stressed and anxious. So the more we practice this, the more beneficial it will be. Okay, once we've established breathing, we can start to move. Now there's an awful lot of qigong moves we can do from this sitting position, and pretty much everything else in the videos associated with this book, or certainly a lot of the moves, can be adapted to the sitting position. But let's just explore a couple of really simple moves. We can start by allowing the arms to just drop like this, feeling the shoulders sink and the shoulder blades sink down the back, always remembering to keep the head and neck softly long. And then as we breathe in, we rise up through the body from the sitting bones. They stay firmly connected to the chair. We don't rise up off the chair. From there we kind of softly lengthen through the body, and that movement brings the soft arms up to about there, feeling as though we're stroking the backs of the hands up a wall. And then without stopping at the top, no rigidity, no stopping, we softly flow down again as we breathe out. Breathing in. Turning smoothly. Turning the hands smoothly. All the while breathing down into the lower belly if we can. I'm filming this in a top room and it has just started raining, so if you hear a pitter-patter, that's what it is. Okay, so after a while we can extend this move. So we come up to here and then we turn the palms to face each other. Now it may be already because of our slow breathing and because of the movement we've done so far that the hands feel very alive, particularly the centre of the palm. Don't worry if that doesn't happen, it will happen in time. A really definite sensation of aliveness in the palms. And we connect that feeling between the two palms. Palms are connected to each other. And then, without drawing the elbows back at all, we simply lengthen that connection to here. Don't take it out forcefully. Keep this nice and rounded. And the palms are still facing each other and the palms are still connected. And then we close again, perhaps with a very, very gentle feeling of compressing that connection. And then we turn the palms towards the floor and we release down. So this is an adaptation of the second movement of the 18-move Tai Chi qigong form, and it's called broadening the chest. So we come up, breathing in, and we open, and let's just hold it a moment here and feel how we're open here, this hollow, shoulders nest is open, and we feel a gentle widening across the top of the chest here, and at the same time the top of the back. Breathing out and out. Breathe in. Breathe out. If the arms get tired, take them down, just take them down to here and release. And when we're ready, go back to the movement. So if we're suffering from chronic fatigue, sometimes even a small amount of really, really gentle movement and exercise can be quite tiring. So never force it. Slowly, day by day, try and build up the length of time we practice, but never to the point of tiring ourselves out. Let's look at just one more upper body movement, remembering that if we look at some of the other videos, we can adapt some of the practices we find there. So this is particularly good for benefiting the lungs, and it's drawn from the crane, the big giant bird, much beloved in East Asian culture. So here we start like this again, and this time we open up like so. So what's really important is the elbows are well in front of the body, because we want to keep the upper back open. Remembering that the two most beneficial areas of expansion of the lungs are one right down into its lower lobes and two into the back, not into the front of the chest. So here, elbows are in front of the body, the upper back is open, shoulders nest here is open, and we softly lengthen through the arms into the thumb and index finger. And that's because, in terms of Chinese medicine, the lung meridian or the lung channel comes out of the lung here at shoulder's nest, this hollow, and travels along the arm to the thumb and index finger. Okay, and then we turn it into a smooth movement, breathing out. Breathing in. Remembering, if our arms get tired, just come down and rest them like this, feeling shoulders release, shoulder blades release, coming back to awareness of our sitting position, feet connected to the floor. We can put our hands back here, feel the palms on the knees, feel the weight dropping down to the sitting bones, feel the chin gently tucked down and a soft lengthening through the head and neck.